just look at the nature of that ladder at the moment. It's incredible. And what about North Melbourne yesterday? That was a terrific. The Gold Coast Suns just can't find a win away from home. And and of course now Richmond go to the bottom of the ladder. Things are changing, and not only in the top 13, but certainly in the bottom 3.
I'll tell you what happens, Brad. The minute you think you've got a handle on it, you've got it all under control, it'll turn around and bite you on the backside, and that's happened again there yesterday, because last week everyone was actually saying, well, Carlton may be the team that'll win the flag, be the favourite.
Well, it started the other night. Your boys were fantastic. I thought, you're into trouble here. They jumped out. Chris kicked 3 goals on those running. I thought, this is going to be a hard night for Bombers, but they'd found a way. It was terrific. And then, as you say, yesterday it was sort of a few more bounce back. My boys got totally ambushed and never recovered. So Kenny's back in the good books over there in Adelaide, which is good. And then you go to that game last night. And I was watching that Carlton game early. 39 points in front they were, Marty.
Yep.
And you thought, okay, well, this is not going to be a long night for the Giants again. We sort of thought the Giants were falling apart. And all of a sudden, what happened there? Like, the turnaround was unbelievable. And I have to agree with Justin Longview. It wasn't a pretty game last night, but as you said, conditions weren't great. But, Richmond were there for a half, but couldn't sustain it. And Fremantle got the job done, and that's exactly what they needed to do.
Brad, we're heading over to Wimbledon now, and Courtney Walsh joins us after another fantastic day's tennis there yesterday. Very good evening to you over there in London, Courtney. Welcome to Perth.
Yes, thank you so much, Marty. Thanks so much, Brad. I'm hoping you're both well here. It's very brisk on the east coast, and hopefully a little warmer on the west.
No,
it's been wet and cold here. I can report a typical English summer.
Yeah, I saw the rain pouring down there last night.
Very, very wet again. It's it's a magnificent city, as I'm sure you two know. But when it's brisk in the middle of summer, went to an event last night in Wimbledon. Ken Rosewall had flown across, and he was the guest of honour 70 years after he made a final and 50 years after he made a final at Wimbledon. So a fair effort at 89 to get off the plane and go to a function. And he said, when I left Brisbane, it was the middle of winter and 25, and I've arrived in London in the middle of summer and 15 and raining.
Work that one out.
Get on you, Courtney. Great to talk to you. As you say, the 3 stories were the rain. 1, 2, good luck, good fortune for Dimonor walkover, and the number 1 seed on the ladies is out in the first week.
Yeah, we'll touch on Dimonor initially. Look, not necessarily surprised. A few of the French reporters have said, and this is probably unlucky for Thanasi Karamakis, in a lot of ways, he's had a lot of misfortune in his career. Lucas Pouet, who was to be Dimonor's 3rd round opponent, withdrew at 9:15 this morning here with a abdominal issue. He told the French journalist after Thanasi Kokkinakis had slipped and injured that knee midway through their second round clash that had Thanasi broke him in the second set. Thanasi was really strong in the first set and had his chances in the second. He would have quit. He'd done the stomach muscles, or certainly had a tear in the stomach muscles, but Thanasi couldn't grasp that opportunity. And, Pouet goes through, pockets quite a bit more cash and a few more ranking points. And the fortune goes to Alex de Minaur, who on a really tricky day, they were on court too, so they would have been delayed a lot. They would have been on and off, and Pouet's a very good player, top 10 player in the past, an Australian Open semi-finalist, so certainly no slouch in any regard. Instead, he goes through and has a weekend where he can basically hit extra, get to the gym, do the things that you want to do midway through a tournament without having the stress of actually playing. So a good result for for Alex de Minaur. Alexei Popyrin finished about an hour ago, and literally I walked out of press about 10 minutes ago. He's just at his press conference after tackling Novak Djokovic on centre court here. Beaten in a 4th set tiebreaker by the 24-time major champion, who I've got to say really stepped up a gear today. Djokovic, he was a bit scratchy in the first 2 rounds, which is not surprising, but played really strongly today. And I think Alexei demonstrated that, look, he's still got to do it, but he certainly has the tools to make a run somewhere in the next couple of years. He's certainly getting closer. He's been dragged along by Alex de Minaur. It was a really high-quality clash, and the crowd was going bonkers. Midway through, England progressed in their sort of European Championships quarter-final, and there was a big roar, and the two had a bit of byplay. But encouraging performance by Alexi, and the beautiful thing about it is afterwards, and you both appreciate this, he said he was absolutely gutted to be beaten, bummed about it. He thought there was a chance to knock off the champion, and it just went begging. So let's hope he can move on from that and join Alex de Minaur as a top 20 sort of player, because I think Alexi's got those sort of tools. And then, you're right, the number one woman in the world, Iga Swiatek, who, we probably talked about this on Tab Radio at the start of the tournament. Fantastic on clay, but the jury, I don't think the jury's out on grass. She's just not a grass court player. She was fairly awful in the second and third sets today. Couldn't land that forehand, which is so vicious in Paris on the clay, but just a little bit of a liability on the grass when it skids through a bit. And she was well beaten by Yulia Putintseva, who, a very handy player, beat Tomljanovic, the Australian, in the final a couple of weeks ago, but not in the top 10 sort of players, or not top 20 sort of players. So a bad one for the world number one.
Well, we found our way across to the women's. We'll get back to the men's soon, but that puts Rybakina as the favourite ahead of Goff at this stage to win it outright. What are your thoughts outright at this time for the women's?
Well, I said with Dibby and Tim during the week that I thought it would be a dartboard job. It was very, very hard. But, having sort of looked around, I ended up settling on Goff at the start of the tournament as the pick. Rybakina is a very, very, very good grass cutter, and she's just demolished Caroline Wozniacki, the former world number one on the comeback trail today, 11-1. But I like the way Goff plays. She's only 20. She has won a US Open title last year. Grass is probably not her best surface either, but she is an outstanding player. And I think she's got the talent to really push the Wimbledon champion from a couple of years ago, Rybakina. She's a very solid player. So, look, I think Coco for mine, the way she's played in the first week, as I'm talking to you, Novak Djokovic has just walked past. He's just completed his press conference about a couple of minutes ago in the all-white tracksuit and the white cap.
Say hello to him for us.
Did he say g'day, Courtney?
He did say g'day to me. I did ask him about Alexi a couple of days ago, but... it's the beautiful thing about this tournament, gents, is that you can get shut away in other tournaments and it's harder to get access. At Wimbledon, because it's a private club, the players, you're around the players all the time, and it's amazing what happens when you treat people like adults. People act like adults. You don't hassle the players. Yeah. Players are fine to walk around and eat. There's no issues with interactions. It's normal.
Courtney, before Marty gets back to the men's, just on the women's, I mean, we think the AFL's volatile at the moment with some of the results, but no malice intended. Where's the women's side at? I mean, it's just really, really tough.
Well, look, I think the woman who would have been the dominant number one for quite a long time is in commentary here on the BBC, and she's doing a mighty job at Ash Barty. Since she retired a couple of years ago, look, Swiatek, without doubt, on clay is a class above. She's a magnificent clay court player, and she's now a 5-time slam winner. So if she continues that magnificence on clay, she'll probably end up with 10 or so. But on grass, she just doesn't handle it. And we've seen clay courters in the past that can struggle to make that cross. I think the top four are really good. I think she is exceptional despite her grass court foes. I think Goff is really, really good, and we shouldn't forget she's 20. She's largely consistent. She's made a final. She's a Grand Slam champion. And then probably Rybakina and Sabalenka, who unfortunately was injured on the eve. Sabalenka had made 8 Grand Slam semi-finals in a row, 7 Grand Slam semi-finals in a row before Roland Garros, where she got crook, and then here where she's been injured, and she's won a couple of titles. So I do think the top tier are very consistent, but it's just that there's not a real standout on any of the surfaces. Sabalenka's amazing in Melbourne. Swiatek's amazing in Paris. Here, it's a bit more of a raffle, and then New York, well, again, a raffle. It's, it's just not a dominant player.
Okay, so in the men's, all the seeds got through unscathed. Sinner, Shelton took 5 to win his, Dimitrov in 3, Medvedev in 4, and then also we saw Fritz get through in 3. You mentioned Djokovic, Rune, he got through in 5. So it sets it up. Let's have a look at the outrights before you give us a summary of all those wins. Outrights in the men, and Sinner's 250, Alcaraz 270, Djokovic 430, and Zverev is 850.
Yeah, I would have. I mean, as I said, Novak looked a lot better today, but Rune finished off strongly. Look, I would still have Sinner and Alcaraz as the favourites. I think Sinner's been playing really well, and that was a really strong win in his second round match against Matteo Berrettini, the former finals here a couple of years ago, who's had his injury rise. That should be a quarter-final, semi-final type of match, and it was a really high standard, and he was able to get through that, which, for mine, stands him in good stead. I think he's getting better on grass. The semi-finalist last year, he was good in Germany, so he, for me, is still the one to beat. Carlos has been a bit scratchy. He was scratchy against Alex Vukic, the Australian. He was tested in 5 sets against TFO, but he got through it. That's one of those ones where you think, champions can be tested, but they find a way through. And it's similar with Novak. The knee's not been great, but I would still have the two younger men ahead of the rest, and I think Zverev's been playing really well, so I think he'd be my third pick. Where Alex sits in this, Alex de Minaur, he's got Arthur Fields next to, who's a 20-year-old from France who beat him a few weeks ago on clay. I think Alex will beat him on grass. I think he's a better grass court player. And then he will play the winner of Djokovic and Rune. I think Alex is a real chance there. Whoever he plays. And Alexei Popyrin, just having done press about 20 minutes ago now, he was saying, do not discount. He said, I know I'm a mate, I'm the same country, but he really is in the top 6 players in the world. He is right up there with the chance, and he can absolutely beat Novak if he plays well. I do give him a good chance. So I feel like that's a better sort of assessment than one that I can give you. So, I think he's not without a chance here, Alex. I think he's certainly very much in the top sort of 5 contenders.
And Courtney, how's the weather looking for the next couple of days? What's the forecast there? Did they lose many games because of the rain last night?
No, managed to get through. It was really, a really dreary day, but they found a way. They sort of put Rune on late onto court 1, which was good. So fans sitting courtside had the benefit of seeing an extra match with Emma Raducanu and Andy Murray Raducanu pulling out of the women's, out of the mixed to focus on her sort of singles campaign. She's a sneaky chance, by the way, as well. I think the English hopeful, she's playing very, very well. Surprised back at 3 years ago, had her injury concerns, and I like the way she's playing. So she don't rule a line through her either in terms of potential champion. It looks like tomorrow again could be a bit wet, a bit miserable, but from then I think we'll be okay in the second week. And by and large, once we're in the second week, they've got 2 magnificent stadium courts with roofs, so it won't be as much of an issue.
All right, Courtney, thanks for jumping on the phone. We had a few technical issues earlier on. Always good to chat, and we'll listen to you on the Sports Daily throughout the morning.
Yeah, thanks so much, gents. I'll look forward to being on the program through the week.
Beautiful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. There he is, Courtney Walsh over there in London. So what about the Euros last night? He did mention it. England defeats Switzerland in penalties 5-3, and the Netherlands come from behind. Turkey led 1-0. Before the Orangemen, Shorty and the team up there in Bali, they'll be celebrating. They got up and won 2-1. So what do you think about that, Brad?
Well, what about England? Southgate, he's had some sliding door moments in this tournament. Even the fans are jeering him. So, it's amazing. And their last gasp, Marty, they've done it a couple of times, and then to go on and beat in penalties Switzerland. It's remarkable. But that's what happens, mate. We see it in AFL as well, don't we, where teams have a sliding door moment through the prelim final, and all of a sudden they can go all the way. So who knows? It may be England's time.
Okay, aftermath this morning. Get on that text line, 0427 789 571. We're starting to get the house back in order. Now, on Wednesday, Tab Touch, Spain, 260, 285 the draw, France, 310, Netherlands, $3.05, draw, 290, the Englishman are 255. So there you go. Well,
where are we leading? Spain, aren't we? I think we're leading Spain. I think we're.
Oh yeah.
I think it's been the longer version of it. We've always felt that they look like the team maybe to beat.
Yeah. Yep, they were too good for the Germans on Friday night, so no doubt they're going to be up and about. It'll be interesting to see what goes on there.
Yeah, the Germans make great cars.
Here's a man, James Sully Sullivan. We love talking to the great man. He joins us right now. Good morning, Sol.
Hello, Marty. Hello, Brad. How are we, gentlemen?
Good, Sully. You'd be a Mercedes driver, wouldn't you, Sully?
I don't know about that. Hey, Bradley, I've got a Toyota. I've got a Toyota Hilux that I bought many years ago.
Unbreakable.
370,000. So that'll do me.
Yeah. What are you going to?
Oh, yeah, they go forever. Yours will be in the next ad. They do that all the time. They have the ads where it clicks over 250, 500, a million.
Sully with his paintbrushes. Hey, what about last night? Geez, heartbreak for us, Sol. Heartbreak. Sea Eagles 21, okay. Cowboys 20. No, it's heartbreaking.
But what about the whole day? Like we've got 2 Golden Point thrillers. And then obviously, you know, the West Tigers stood up against the Melbourne Storm. But I tell you what, Marty and Brad, if you're gonna look for, I actually said to me young bloke who was at the game at Townsville last night, I said there's 2 blokes playing out there at the moment that are the best 2 field goal exponents. And I know Matty Burton's going all right as well. But Daly Cherry Evans and Val Holmes, they're the blokes when you're in a battle. But Daly Cherry Evans, Val Holmes missed, remember? He missed his first attempt in Golden Point, and then DCE says, give it here. Yep. And I tell you what, 35 years of age, and he gets better and better. Unbelievable. But the big thing, guys, it was a semi-final game. You know, obviously we know Manly have been a bit lumpy, and around that origin period, we know what teams are like. But going back home, the Cowboys, just at home, they've been a bit how you going as well, but mate, the intensity of it at half time, you could just say this is Cowboys bombed 3 tries in that first half as well, Marty, as you know. But great game of footy, a real finals game.
Big match for Jason Saab, hat-trick of tries.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, isn't it funny? You got Saab, right? You got the supercars on in Townsville at the moment. Quite apt, wasn't it? A Saab scores 3.
Yeah, so for our $8 bet to get the Cowboys in the top 4, what does that do to the algorithm?
Well, let's hope it goes out to 10 and we just load up again.
Oh, okay, we're going to chase it. All right.
Still more than, remember what I did say? It's 6 of their last 8. We haven't got to that period yet. And they've still got 2 buys.
Okay, Storm 40. Tigers, as you said, they were plucky. Tell us about this match.
Yeah, plucky's the right word, mate. 16-12 at half time after the Tigers got out on an early lead. And I still say it, and I've sold you boys 4 weeks ago, just find your $5 and just keep putting it on the Melbourne Storm. Because at the moment, this is a patched-up football team. You know, you go through and you have a look at the blokes that make... And all of a sudden, he does it all the time, doesn't he? And Brad knows in particular. Bellamy does it all the time. He'll pick one kid and he'll say, right, I'm going to play you here, play you there. Tyron Wishart has just come from nowhere. We all know he's the son of Rod, you know, one of the greats many, many years ago. But this kid just continues to, you know, and last night, there's another example. The hooker, Bronson Garlick, goes down. Off he goes. They ended up with 15 last night, the Melbourne Storm. So it's a massive, but Tyron Wishart goes to hooker and excels. So, yeah, once they get all their cattle back, they're going to be a fair dinkum hard side to beat, I think, the Storm.
Sully, remiss of us if we don't quickly just summarise Thursday, Friday. Eels no way near the Rabbitohs. Titans too good for the Sharks, and the Panthers, did the job against the Bronx.
Yeah, well, obviously the big fallout of that big win by the Rabbitohs, 5 in a row, mind you, plus a bye in there. So they've picked up 12 points in the last 6 weeks. The big fallout is Latrell Mitchell, the foot injury. So not only for the Rabbitohs, but also for New South Wales. They will need to find a new centre for Game 3, which will be announced tonight. So some interesting games. But, yeah, that's a big, big win. They've turned it around, haven't they? The other game, the Sharks came home with a wet sail, but no, it weren't good enough. This Titans side, you know, Desi's got them playing good footy. And the last game, that was a suffocation from the Panthers. They just shut the Broncos out. A little bit of trouble, the Broncos.
Yep.
Yeah, they're struggling to win. Haven't won a game for 6 weeks. So 49 days, I think I read. So, problems there. Oh, not so much problems. They got a nice run in after Origin, but, I think everybody wants that Origin period to get over and done with so we can just rock and roll into the final third of the comp.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're only 2 points out of the 8, the Broncos. So if they get on a good run and get back into that top 8, but, gee, they're not the side that we thought they were going to be at the end of last year, that is for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, Marty, the big thing with that, and we talk about how important these halfbacks are, and no Adam Reynolds, and they just miss him guiding him around, but it's not just the blokes outside of him. It's the likes of your Carrigans and, your Payne Haas's that Reynolds really gets rolling on the front foot. At the moment, they're just missing his guidance around the side. So, I think Joshy Rogers, our WA boy, the boy from North Beach, he'll be given the reins for the next few weeks. And hopefully for Broncos fans, they can get back on top.
Well, Sully, Marty's got the prices. How are we going to pay for the 350k service on the Hilux?
Very good, Brad. I like that.
What are those prices there, Marty?
Okay, here we go. Sydney Roosters, $1.24. St George, $4.10. Lions, 13.5. Total points, 52.5. And then your boys are Raiders, $2.20. Newcastle Knights, $1.67. 3.5 there, and the total points, 48.5.
Yeah, well, the first game, as you say, we know what happened on Anzac Day. Holy dooly, the Roosters came to play. 60-18 in that one, and the big one today, Jared Wawerea-Hargraves becomes the greatest Rooster, the big boy, overtaking Mitch Orbis, and they won 10 of their past 12 against the Dragons. And this Roosters side, when they flick the switch, we know they can score points, and they're third in defence as well. Dragons have been plucky though, to be totally honest. So I'll go the Roosters 5+ the margin. I like them there. In the next game, this is toss of the coin stuff. A couple of big outs. It looked like, Kalen Ponga was going to play, but he's pulled out, so he's not ready. And then a big out overnight for Canberra. I think Hudson Young, he's their go-forward man at the back of this scrum, so he's not there as well. So I'm going to go 5+ for Knights. Knights will come to town. I think, obviously, you've got two of them, both their centres are playing for an Origin spot. Dane Gagai for Queensland, and now with what's happened with Mitchell, Bradman Best, who was so good in last year. People remember Game 3 in Origin, grabbed 2 tries, man of the match, actually. Bradman Best was. So he's playing for a spot as well. So I'll go those two, 5+ margin, 293. We get a little price there, but the ones I like Tedesco to score into that man, Dane Gagai, at $5.10. And then let's have Brandon Smith into Tyson Frizzell, the 250 gamer today. Tyson Frizzell, we get $13 for that. So we'll have a little play there.
Okay, you text them out as you normally do. Let's finish off State of Origin because it is on the 17th of July. You presented the stats on, Friday's show about when it is a decider at Suncorp. Yep. Now, I think I've got this right. It's 10 from 12 to Queensland and 1 draw.
That's right. 10 to Queensland. There's been 13 deciders just for Brad, so he knows. 13 deciders in Brisbane. Queensland have won 10, New South Wales 2, and as you said, Marty, 1 draw. So, you look at the stats and it's all leads to Queensland. But the best thing about that, stats aren't played on the game, on the ground.
No, that's exactly right, Sully. I'll tell you what, I'll make you feel better, Sal, as we bid you farewell. At my value bet yesterday, half an hour before the game, Sully, North Melbourne with 19.5 point start.
Yep.
In the same game, multi. Tick. Total scoreline under 169.5 for $3.85. What was the total score, Marty?
170.
I've got a worse one, Brad. Brad, I've got a worse one for you. I threw one out for the boys for Thursday morning. $30 this multi. $30. It was I got the first leg up, Rabbitohs to win, and then I had the Bulldogs to win in regular time, 1-12. Went to Golden Point and they won. You don't get it.
You don't get it.
Golden Point.
You don't get it.
Yeah.
I won't say what
they know, mate. They know. They just know sometimes, don't they?
And for any young listeners out there, This will happen all your life, so make your choices now. Stay with us. It's good fun. Don't worry about that. And keep betting on Tab Touch. Thanks, Sully.
You'll enjoy the ride.
Yeah, it's a great ride. Don't worry about that. Hey, Brad, the text line.
Beauty.
I've got a ripper here.
Yes.
First up from Mel. After a few technical issues earlier, he says, "Hey, Marty, just sling us a few tips and park it up for the day."
Good on you, Mel.
Those sort of things make you come back and say, that's why we're doing this job. And also,
It's like golf, mate.
Yeah.
It's like golf. You hit that one great shot and you think, I can do this all the time.
Yeah. And then
you can't.
Then what happens? And a really good text from Snoz. Thanks for that. He really enjoys the aftermath, and I really appreciate that text from Snoz, one of our favourite texters. But get to me.
Snoz.
Retrovision, 0427 789 571. Right, let's start off with a bit of AFL. Hey, we've got Matty Hill on from about 6:45, so we'll make sure have a little bit of a chat now and get to Matt right on 6:45. We want to review finals day at Flemington, but have a chat to this wonderful commentator, not only just in the races but the footy as well. But let's start with the Gold Coast. What have they got to do to win away from home? And it was that annoying to their coach that he dropped the F-bomb in the press conference.
Well, they started well. Actually North started well. Then Gold Coast gathered a bit of momentum, and they led 5-3 at quarter time. You thought, well, maybe this is the day. And then all of a sudden, North have been really, really plucky. That's the word we've been using for a number of sides this year, Marty. And they found themselves in front at half time. And again, it was seesawing in that second half, and it looked like North were going to run away with it. Sort of that 2 to 3 goal mark for a big majority of the last quarter, and Gold Coast came home, but they just don't seem to be able to replicate the intensity, away from Carrara, which is a real concern. And it was a live chance for them. I'm not knocking North Melbourne at all, but it was a live chance for them to win one on the road. They've gone down narrowly to St Kilda, have gone down narrowly now to North Melbourne, and they're probably the two chances that they had. That's the difference between making the 8 and not for them. And now they've got a blockbuster next weekend against Port Adelaide up there at Carrara, just to keep their season alive. And Port were terrific yesterday, and so who's to say they haven't corrected themselves? And they've got a couple to come back in, so it is frustrating. And I must admit, I've had an interest on the
Gold Coast,
the Suns to make the 8, and but I think we're in a little bit of trouble now.
I can feel his frustration, but it's part of, I think, these younger teams when they're progressing, they don't always get it right. He's gone to pains to say these players can do it. They have got that much talent. They've got to believe in themselves, and there will be a light bulb moment. I just want to. Took Miller has injured a wrist, and Sam Day plantar fascia, so a couple of players out of that side. But go back to North Melbourne. For the last 5 weeks, Brad, they have beaten the start. They've been a great betting proposition. We've been pushing them very strongly on Drive and on this program, and again they saluted. They've just they did flick a switch, didn't they? North, they flicked a switch, and away they've gone.
Well, we've seen it from Sheasel, and Davies Uniacke bounced back from a lean one the week before. Simpkins' form's improved, but McCurch was back in yesterday. He was terrific. He was just on fire. So, they are starting to get it right now, and if they can do that on a regular basis, they're going to be worrying more teams between now and the end of the year. That's for sure. Larkey, still back amongst the goals for them. But look, Marty, with the Gold Coast, and I've been there. You've been in plenty of sport. Yes, everybody knows as players sport. When you go to the away team, if you just haven't got your head in the game for whatever reason, you get that little bit of a surreal moment where you're sort of having an out-of-body experience. You're sort of at the ground, you're on the ground, you're looking around the ground, but you're not actually got your head in the game. And that's what the Gold Coast Suns have got to overcome. That's simply as that, as you say. Okay. They've still got 2 arms, 2 legs, red blood. They've got ability. They've just got to make sure when they run on that ground, they are totally invested.
Now, you mentioned this game, Port and Western Bulldogs. Let's cover off on this. Port, just too good. They've now been able to put 2 in a row together, and the Bulldogs didn't turn up.
No, very, very. I don't think we all saw that coming at all. None of us saw that coming. I thought, well, the bottom line, their best 12, or let's say their front 12. So their front 6, wingers and centre line and their rucks and rovers, so to speak. So that's what were poor. Really put too much pressure on the back half. And Rosie, Butters and Wines in the first quarter had about 50 disposals between them. It was just unbelievable. And it took too long for Bontempelli, Liberatore, Trelaw to actually, they are guns. There's no doubt about that. But at some point, you've got to sacrifice your own game. You don't have to have the direction from the coach. Just say, hang on a minute. The bells and whistles were going off everywhere. Just shut down on them. And it was only 5 goals down at quarter time, which, as you know, I say is manageable. Anything north of that, you're in trouble. Didn't change a lot after that, to be honest, but the damage was done early, and well done to Port Adelaide. They've they found a way and they got it done.
So they lost Jones and Waitman going in, and they were big outs, right? And now they've lost Norton and O'Donnell with concussion, which is going to hit this side, and you've got a very hard patch of games coming up.
Yeah. Look, they have to win probably 5. I'm not sure they can do that. I thought 12 would see it through. I think you've got to win more than 12 now. It's going to be minimum 12.5, probably maximum. I think 13 will get you in. But there's so many that are in that range. The Giants, Collingwood, Brisbane should be winning today. Gold Coast, Melbourne, Hawthorn. So all of those could win 12 and miss.
So this is your run: Carlton, Geelong, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide away, and then you've got North, no gimme, and the Giants to finish off on. So it's going to be a really tough task for the Bulldogs going forward.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But the one thing, if they do bring their A-grade game and Bontempelli and Liberatore Trelaw get back on their game, and they can certainly mix it with anybody. So, but it's just going to be whether they can win enough in those games. It's probably unlikely, but they'll give it a crack.
Get your texts in on 0427789571. If you've got any texts for our next guest, Matt Hill, fire them in now. We'll take a break and come back and review finals day at Flemington next.
Sunday morning, Tab Radio Racing and Sport is turned on, and you are listening to the dulcet tones of Marty Young and Brad Hardie on the After.
Oh, if you're talking dulcet tones, we've got them here. Matt Hill joins us. Very good morning, Matty.
Marty and Brad, a very good morning to you at a freezing Melbourne. We had a good day at Flemington yesterday. A really good concept with the Winter Championship finals, and we have a pretty ho-hum sort of 6 or 7 weeks of racing down here, but it all comes to a head at Flemington on finals day, and it was a really good day.
Matty, what do you do in your spare time? You're calling races, you're calling football, you're off to the Olympics.
Yeah. Don't really have a lot of spare time, if I'm to be honest, but that's okay. It is great fun, and I always say if you get to go to Flemington one day and the MCG the next, it's the best job in the world.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Well, let's fly into the Flemington. Sorry.
No, I just want to know, how did Flemington play yesterday, Matt? Was there any bias at all?
No, pretty well. I think overall, with the rail in the true position, and every horse gets a chance there at Flemington. Although it's one of those anomalies at Flemington, is that even though you've got the big spacious surrounds, and obviously the track's a mile and a half around, you will still get the odd horse that's unlucky, particularly up the straights. But no, overall played pretty well. A lot of pace-related results. They went hard in a couple of races, particularly the Leilani final and the Winter Championship final. So no, overall pretty fair.
Well, don't run upstairs and don't bet odds on. And I followed you in the first race on Adolf Fito, a $600,000 purchase. Where did you pick that one from? Had you seen its perhaps some of its breeze-ups, or what have you seen?
Yeah, no, it's a nice horse, Adolf Fito. It ran in a barrier trial at Pakenham Synthetic, and trained by Peter Moody and Catherine Coleman, lovely gross colt, and it sat at the back under Damien Lane in the barrier trial, and they just showed its hand in the final 200 or 300 metres. It was very zippy up the outside of the track, and it looked as though that it obviously had a lot of ability. The favourite in the race, I found it had won very impressively in Sydney, but it was on a very rain-affected track, and it was on a heavy 9, whereas at Flemington yesterday, even though we started on a soft 5, the track walkers believed that it was going to be a good 4 at some point, which it eventually turned out to be. And that Alfito, first start down the straight, so it was a good training performance, but obviously the Sydney horse I found you hadn't seen the straight either, so $1.50's poison, really, under those circumstances, and Adolfito was the value at $6.50 and got the cash.
Ethan Brown had a terrific day. It started with Berkshire Breeze in the Banjo Patterson, and this grey gallop, you can just get a feeling it could be Melbourne Cup for him.
Well, you do sort of think that it will go to those sort of races. I mean, it looks as though it head towards a Geelong Cup, perhaps, and to get to a Melbourne Cup. I mean, you can't really use the Banjo Patterson final as a Melbourne Cup guide, but the way that horse won was very, very impressive. It trotted in and had a lot in hand at the end. And you mentioned Ethan Brown. He was just a passenger there on Berkshire Breeze. That was very, very good, and you would think that horse will try and take on some bigger fish in the spring.
Good finish in the third, just a deal. Found the line over Rise at Dawn and Craig. Well, I noticed in your voice, in your inflection, that you were surprised it went back as far as it did.
Well, it certainly pushed a little bit closer at the start before, and they did go hard early, Brad. Rise at Dawn's done a pretty good job there, had to scrap for the lead, and did a good job to try and fend off the winner, Just a Deal, who's been going well. But overall, I think the run of the race was the second horse, and they might have just missed the boat with Craig because I think jockey John Allen thought that it would finish better than it did, but it took a little bit of time to wind up. Still a very nice horse, but I think the run of the race was the second horse for Team Hayes Rise at Dawn.
Matt, can you give us an update? How's Mike Moroney going? And I noticed in the post-race interview with Glenn Thompson, they are to become a training partnership. But Mike, we understand, has not been in the best of health. And have you got an update there for us over here? He's a great mate of ours over here.
Oh, is he? Yeah, it's a terrific trainer, fantastic trainer, particularly of stayers. Though the latest that I've heard, I haven't heard an update in the last week or two, but is that he's been recovering well and keen to get back into it. And by all reports, has been very much still influencing all of the decisions of the stable over the last few weeks. I'm happy to hear that he's going in a partnership, so that'll mean we'll see him at the track soon, hopefully.
Good. The fourth, the Taj Rossi, and it was Jenny's Meadow, Tony Otterbury, having a great run with his horses, and she's tough.
Oh, yeah, and she saw the 1,600 metres out well. What was the real difference there yesterday, boys? The horses that were 1, 2, 3 had come out of the same race a couple of weeks ago, Pisces, Sneaky, Sunrise, Jenny's Meadow, and really the difference was the barrier draw. Jenny's Meadow drew a gate. She doesn't jump well. She missed the start, but she was able to make ground up on the inside and get herself into the race and gain momentum, and it was a terrific ride. That was the second of a treble for Ethan Brown, and she saw out the 1,600 metres better than anything else, and that race is the old Gibson Carmichael, the Taj Rossi. It's been run for about 110 years, and usually the form stands up pretty well out of that.
And, Matty, I think the 3 kilo turnaround for Pisces against Sneaky Sunrise, people went that way, but I felt the mile was always going to be a bit of a stretch for it, and it looks like it was.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was the indication from the 1,400 metre race the fortnight earlier, and that's the great thing of the concept about this finals day is you tend to get all of these horses racing each other again from the form lines over the last month. So if you're a good tape watcher and can study the tapes closely, finals day is quite a good day to have a punt.
Well, you spoke about Mike Moroney, but Matty Elton has got his share of problems at the moment as well. And I think everybody was riding Blazing Lady home, but Cindy Falls just lobbed it on the line.
Yeah, and they went very hard. In fact, Blazing Lady was a winner at Flemington on Provincial Plate Day 2 weeks ago, and the form, basically every horse in this race come out of the same race, bar for Cindy Falls, who also had pushed forward, and it's only run in Australia so far at Sandown, and it was pretty tough. But I think they thought there was going to be so much pace in the race, which there was, and Cindy Falls had drawn an outside gate under Dean Yendall, so dragged her all the way back, and she's come with a paralysing burst, and really it could have gone either way on the line. It was very, very close, very narrow margin to Cindy Falls, but a good win for Lee and Shannon Hope, the training partnership out of Seymour, and they got a good win there, a $150,000 final.
And then on to race number 6, the Mahogany final. It was Steel Run for Michael Kent and Ethan Brown.
So Steel Run is bred by Northern Barrage, who in the same breeding as Northern Barrage, who was very good in this race a few years ago. Lightly raced, 4th race start, put the writing on the wall the last time with a bit of an eye catcher over 2,000 metres, and trotted in. I thought it might have been a poisonous price there yesterday at about $2.60, but it just tanked up and absolutely strolled in, absolutely bolted in. So again, Ethan Brown was a bit of a passenger there, but it's a good little concept, the Mahogany series. A lot of the heats are over 2,000 metres, and the final over a longer trip at 25, trying to bring through the young stayers. So it'll be interesting to see what targets they go with Steel Run in the future. And, you know, it's probably a work in progress, but maybe better races in 12 or 18 months' time if the horse can stay up that long.
The Santa Randalane, what a horse it was, down the straight, and it looked a novelties race, Matty, I've got to say, but I didn't find the two. Geez, it's been a perennial place getter down the guts.
Yeah, so it's our time. I mean, when you think about it, was placed in a Wangoon, placed in a Golden Topaz, the two most competitive bush sprints we almost have in the country, and this horse has been consistent and loves the straight. Trained by Danny O'Brien, ridden by Damien Lane, and there was a few ticks there, but as you say, it can be a perennial place getter, and punters decided to ignore it, particularly with the favourite Press Down, who was so impressive winning the Golden Topaz at Swan Hill. But what's amazing about the straight is we had two favourites there yesterday, Press Down and also Ferrari, which we'll touch on in the last. But they were gone a long way from home. And when they're gone at Flemington down the straight, it seems to me the favourites in particular that we're concentrating on tended to be gone a long way from home and weren't looking likely. But it's our time. They just tanked into the race, tracked the favourite, was tactically brilliant from Damien Lane and was too strong for them. Talking about horses that can be hard to catch at times, but are marvels. Cross Havens run on for a good placing, and the Astrologist, who took on the world last year down the straight, he just keeps plugging on. He loves the straight and ran well again.
The Winter Championship final taken out by the Red Hot horse. Being Lounge Bar and Green Fly. We have a lot of fun over here with Old Cobb and Munamek. It's one of our staples.
Yeah, I love it. Well, gee, it's the old adage, the more they win, the better the price. $5 for Munamek, and he's been going so well. But, full credit to Nick Ryan to keep this horse going as an 8-year-old. He's racing in the form of his life with a Swan Hill Cup, a David Burke Provincial Plate, and now a Winter Championship, and won easily. And what really fell into the hands of Munamek was the pace. They went ballistic in it. They went really hard. They strung out, and that's just handing it to Munamek on a platter. No, it was a terrific win, and I'm sure they'll probably try and tip Munamek out now. And there's perfect races for it, like the Rupert Clark, that are just perfect for horses like Munamek.
You touched on Ferrari, was one of the biggest street corner tips in the around yesterday, but right to party. Nice horse.
Very nice horse. Interesting betting in this race, Brad. Ferrari was the short price favourite after, it must be said, not beating that much on the synthetic, and it was very impressive though by doing it, but had to answer another question. And Fleetwood, who'd missed the start at Caulfield the week before in controversial circumstances, it was out the gate. It was $5 out to $8. In fact, we had to double check. It had 4 legs going out onto the track, but Right to Party was coiled up, and it was an emphatic win in the end. Stormed over the top of them, and that race has produced some nice horses. Nature Strips won that race previously, to name one of them. It's been a good race, the Creswick Sprint Final for Group 1 horses. So Right to Party is going to be a big watch as we head into the warmer months.
Matty, we've got 45 seconds. You've got a couple to follow from that meeting?
Yeah, I think the obvious. I think Berkshire Breeze will be interesting to see what trajectory they go with that runner after bolting in the staying race. And I think Right to Party in the last. As I say, the Kresik's probably the race to follow out of the meeting. It's produced some very good horses, and that horse was good. So Berkshire Breeze and Right to Party for me.
Thanks for coming on the program this morning. You're calling today?
Yes, I've got the blockbuster today, Melbourne and West Coast. So looking forward to that. And it's going to be about -4 at the MCG today. So no, you can't beat it.
Rug up and call them well. Thanks for coming on the Aftermath. You've been a star. As always, there he is, Matt Hill, summarising Flemington from yesterday.
You're listening to the Sunday Aftermath on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Brad, you've got to get your Sunday saviours in, and you've got one already selected. Tell us how it works.
I have for Ginger. It can be a minimum of 2 legs, maximum of whatever you like, I suppose. But bottom line is the more you put on, the more you win, and bet responsibly. But, I go for a 3-legger most weeks for me and Ginger Jane down there. You're going to see her today, Marty, are you not?
Yep. We're heading down there. We're taking little Ezra down for a run as well. Should be fun.
All right, well, here we go, Ginger Jane. Townsville, race 1, number 1, better show. Put in, take out, $1.50 there, punters. Let's get away to a start. Race 4, number 5. Now, Hurdle. This will be a bit of a price today. This is a very good horse. There's another good horse in the race, so it's going to be $3.10, Marty. So race 4, number 5, Hurdle, $3.10. And we'll go to Warrnambool, race 6, number 3. He's just a beauty. Will John, $2.30. He's a ripper. So race 1, number 1, better show, $1.50. Race 4, Townsville, race 4, number 5, Hurdle, $3.10. And Warrnambool, race 6, number 3, Will John, $2.30. $10.70 for Ginger Jane and me.
That'll do us. Now, let's have a look at the Retrovision text line. Go on. Oh, no, good morning, boys. The 2 articles in the Sunday Times this morning stating players will shape Simo's fate, and surely it doesn't end this way, are what West Coast supporters want to believe. But the truth is, Simo himself must end his career as coach, or he will be remembered for his losses, not his 2018 grand final. Time is now, says Snoz.
Yeah, no, I agree with Snoz. I mean, enough of the talk. It's got to be done now. I mean, to think it's not catastrophic after last week's loss. 59 losses from the last 69. Could be 60 from 70 today. As I said, don't care whether it's 1 point or 60 points. I just want to see what the response is from the West Coast Eagles players today, whether it's self-preservation or they're in there actually to have a crack.
Okay, another one here. Brian High Wycombe. Must be tipping point for Collingwood now with injuries.
Yeah, the consistency, as we say about the injuries. Everyone gets injuries, but they've been able to maintain it or manage it for a little while, but now it's getting beyond the pale. They just can't keep them all on the paddock. Obviously now their blue-collar forward, Mychek, out for probably the remainder of the season. So, they're in a bit of hurt now, and I think a few of their older players, even though they've been fantastic, Pendlebury, Sidebottom, Howe, etc., just starting to slow a little.
Yeah, it puts a lot of pressure, doesn't it, on the players that have been there all year when they're having to pick up the strain. These young guys come in and play well for a game or two, but can they keep it up? It's hard. Yep.
Missing your boy Noble. Your boy Noble. Quaynor's had a lean year. There's a few that have had a lean year this year. Yep. I mean, they need him back in. They probably need to win a minimum of 4 games. Look, they can do it, but their draw's pretty tough.
Morning, Marty. Brad, modern technology, great when it works. Yeah, thanks. This is from Lisa of Allenbrook. Heard the novelty race at Marble Bar. No free balling. It was bottoms up. Yeah, the undies race yesterday. They get a big crowd, a big field for that. My goodness. Guys, few upsets in the AFL yesterday. Great to see Hardwick didn't hold back. Wallabies turned the table last night, beating Wales 25-16. You beauty. Yes. Oh, I'll be getting Howie, my little Welsh mate. I'll give him a bit of stick over that. Fullback Tom Wright, solo 68-metre try. Sensational. Let's have a look at that. Brad, can't see Jake Waterman playing today. Heard he ended up in hospital on Sunday night. I think he's already out, having that cut behind his knee cleaned up and re-stitched. Hope the guys come with the right attitude. They say they'll own it. It's not the coach's fault. Have a great day and week. P.S. Any chance Justin Longmuir could take lessons in public speaking? Oh, I don't know. I haven't listened to his presser as yet, but let's just let him coach, and we'll worry about the public speaking later, I think. But What do you think about all that from Lisa? She's normally right on the mark, and then again she is.
Yeah, she's always on the mark. So what Wright was about the 188th captain of the Wallabies, wasn't he? I think, I'm not too sure. That was his first debut, I think, as captain. Look, yeah, there's no doubt West Coast. There's a few players contemplating their futures. We spoke about them during the week. Barras has got a 4-year deal on the table with the Western Bulldogs. McGovern doesn't want to have the bejesus kicked out of him week in, week out. Liam Ryan's very keen to get up to Queensland, either the Suns or Brisbane. So as I say, we're going to be look with Waterman. Yeah, it'd be foolish. I mean, but there's no need to play games either, Lisa. To be honest, I mean, it's not as if you're playing for a final spot. I mean, it's not going to worry Melbourne whether Waterman plays or not. They're going to be ready for him with Stephen May and or Lever if that's the case anyway. So interesting time. Ball in the court of the Eagles players. You never trust what the players say. Any players, I don't care what team they play for, because when you've got your backs to the wall, they're always saying the right things because that's the company line.
Hey, Brad, I know he's one of your favourite jockeys. You back him all the time. Zac Lloyd had a wonderful day yesterday at Randwick, and here's our next guest.
King of the Castle, the inside, railing through. Highlights the outside, and Jojo was a man running into it. Up the rise now, and I Know a Star held together. I Know a Star a length in front to Tamer Lane. King of the Castle looking for a little gap. Then came Highlights, and Jojo was a man. King of the Castle got shut out. Tamer Lane moved up to I Know a Star. It's Tamer Lane, I Know a Star. King of the Castle's out now, running on. It's Tamer Lane hanging on grimly. Tamer Lane from I Know a Star, and Tamer Lane. What a big day for Zac Lloyd. Four-timer.
Yeah, what a way to bring up a four-timer on a $21 chance. He joins us now. Zac, very good morning. Welcome along to the Aftermath. Marty in Perth and Brad Hardie's over there in Melbourne.
Yeah, morning. Morning, Marty. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Mate, that was a wonderful ride, and Brad Hardie, he was all over it because you went out, you drove Nashua mad enough on I Know a Star. You just made him work a bit early, and then up the straight, you kept Alicia Collett in a pocket and allowed Tamer Lane to win that winner stakes at listed level. It was a cracking ride.
Yeah, thank you. He was good. It was good to see him back. Obviously, his 2 runs, his preparation have been well below par. So fantastic job by the team at Osborne to turn him around and get him back winning.
Yeah, because he can gallop, can't he, Zachy? Well done. Fantastic day for you. But you're very aggressive right from the start, knowing full well, I'm sure, that I Know a Star was going to push on and try and go to the front.
Yeah, exactly right. James did tell me pre-race that he believed he had the horse a bit big first up, second up at Warwick Farm. So he said he expects much better performance from the horse. So I wasn't afraid to use him early and just trusted that he would be strong late, which he was.
So let's go back to race 1. I mean, you dominated this one as well with Brave 1. The Hawks boys can get one ready, particularly first up. And again, you just rode shotgun outside the leader and too good.
Yeah, it was sort of a copy-paste ride of Tamer Lane sort of thing. It was similar. My horse, he's a very nice colt by Exceedance. The Hawks team have a big opinion of him. So I was confident going into the race that he would perform well, and he won. He probably exceeded my expectations. He won really well.
Okay, then into race number 4, and this was a highway, but this 4-year-old mare by DeBar, had a Sweet Idea. Remember, Cam Brown owned a Sweet Idea, who's a Schnitzel mare. She's got untapped ability. You looked in a bit of trouble, but you and the horse were good enough to get out of it.
Yeah, it was sticky on it. She's obviously really well bred. Not much went right. Everything went wrong, and she just had a bit on that field yesterday and got herself out of trouble. So, it was looking dicey for a bit.
So, run our listeners who may not have seen the race, you just couldn't find Clear running in the straight. How did you find Clear running, and what did she do to take advantage of it when you did? Yeah,
the plan pre-race was to bang her out. She normally has good gate speed, and I was going to just keep her out of trouble, ride her like the best horse. If I was 3 wide, no worries. But as the gates opened, she slipped very badly in behind coming out of the gate. So that put me back way further than I would have liked. Obviously, she was in the ruck in the middle of them. Big highway field. They went very slow, so they were all compact, and I was stuck up for room. So I had to wait for some runners to improve. So I thought going out was my best chance to get a run. I got on the back of, I believe it was Alicia Collett. She improved forward, and Ty Long dropped off outside me, so that enabled me to come out, and it was a small gap, but my mare was very brave and went through it nicely and quickened really well that last 100.
Well, we got to race 7 and you're winning for fun at this stage. And you got to a stage where you won one for Bjorn before upsetting him in the next. But she's an A-lister. Gave her a peach of a ride.
Yeah, she was great. I love winning for Bjorn. He's a good man. Obviously, gave me Group 1, so it's good to repay him with a nice ride on. And she's an A-lister. She was really good. I trialled her, I think, maybe 9 or 10 days ago, and I was very disappointed with her trial, but Bjorn said not to worry. Once the blinkers go on, she's a different horse. So, he was right, and she won very, very nicely first up.
Did she need the run, or is she one of those mares that sort of pulls up once the job's done?
It was a bit of circumstances, I reckon. She had 61 on a heavy track first up. She's only a little mare. Mm-hmm. So I think she was always going to get tired that last 100, hence why I nursed her as I straightened for as long as I could. But she done the job, and a lot of merit in her win considering circumstances.
Zach, you got the
come on, tell us about the banter between you and Bjorn Baker. Was there any banter after Tamerlane got the job done against Noah Star? Did he have a crack at you, or did you have a crack back?
No, there was actually. As me, James, and Darren were walking down the tunnel, he was standing there and he goes, "Zach." He licked his middle finger and stuck it up at me. He's a good man.
Yeah. Look, you've won the apprentices, or you've got the apprentices table well and truly covered up at the moment. But you look like you're enjoying your work every time you're in. I know it's easy when you're riding winners, but there's a sort of breath of fresh air. And you were asked yesterday, you're going to take a break, and you said, well, I'm riding winners. I'm going to keep riding winners and collect the money. So it looks like you just love your work.
Yeah, I do. It's good fun. I'm very competitive. I love racing, win, lose or draw. It's a good challenge. So, I don't see the point of taking a break. I'm really enjoying it at the moment.
Zach, what about who does most of the legwork? Your manager or yourself? Do you stump up to track work quite a bit? Because you ride for many and varied stables.
Yeah, I'm at track work every morning for Godolphin at Warwick Farm. They're very good in allowing me to go elsewhere if I need to do a gallop for a horse on Saturday or something. But, my dad gets me in my race rides. He's my manager. So it's a good system.
How is the old man going?
He's good. He was very happy yesterday, obviously, but he's doing well.
Mentors you, does he, after the rides and etc.?
Yeah, I always ring him. Obviously, pre-race, he does most of my form. So I'll run through the races with him, and I'll sort of listen to what he says, what he believes is the best chance for the horse, and then. Yeah, after the race meeting, I'll ring him again and just go through the races and what we think each horse did, or even if I saw another horse with another jockey on the day run well, I'll try to get on next up.
Now, when you win 4 in a day, I mean, you don't want to change anything, because any chance you could do a bit of a sun dance over there or get rid of some of these heavy tracks?
I know it's getting excruciating at the minute, but as long as you're on horse, you get through the wet, it's fine.
Zach, do you get in the gym and keep your physical fitness up as well?
Not necessarily. I'm lucky. I'm pretty young, so I don't go to the gym. I've never really believed in the gym.
Yep.
It puts on muscle, and that's obviously weight. So I just keep fit, eat well, and hopefully the body does the rest.
Well, you keep on riding with us.
I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased to hear that, Zach, because Marty and our go-to gym is Jim Beam.
Sounds good.
All the best to you, Zach. Thanks for coming on the Aftermath. That was a brilliant display of riding yesterday at Randwick.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me on.
Great young kid. He's a beauty, isn't he?
Didn't he have his eye in? And look, to be brutally honest, there wasn't a hell of a lot. There was a length difference between every ride that he won on. Yep. As I say, the first one was shotgun outside the leader. You know what he did on the other two. Got the perfect trails. Tamerlane, as you said, great description, kept Nashua Willow busy. She's an A-lister, was sort of in that right spot, come around them.
But he just held her up, didn't he? He must have known,
Yep.
with, as he said, small horse, heavy track, 61 first up, that he didn't want to go too early and held her up just long enough to get her across the line. And then when he got out of trouble on the odds-on favourite, that was a brilliant performance as well.
Yeah,
watching the head on of that.
The boy.
Yeah.
He's a good player to follow, punters.
So,
what's his name in your book?
So, as a senior, when he, really becomes, into his senior side of his riding, he'll be up there with Nash and James McDonald and the others, etc. There's a bit of a push for Nash to try and beat James McDonald at the moment. I think he's 6 behind, might be 83 to 77, I think, something like that. The premiership for the Metro, yeah. And James what's wrong with him? He's got something wrong with his stomach or something, hasn't he? At the moment, that's why he hasn't been reading. So it's 83 to 77, yeah, on that one. Trainers, well, the trainers at the moment, Chris Waller, 185's had a big season. Gay, 129.5. By gee, they've had a good season, haven't they?
What would they have? Especially their babies, across the early part of the season late last year.
Get those Sunday saviours in, punters. They've been a little bit slow off the mark, although they're starting to roll through now. Brad can repeat his again, give you some idea how to play it on 0427 789 571.
Yeah, Townsville race 1, number 1, Better Show will win again at $1.50. Race 4, number 5, Hurtle resuming today. Crack little sprinter up there, $3.10. Good value, that one, punters. Warrnambool race 6, number 3, Will John. Just an ultimate professional, $2.30. That gives us $10.70 there, Marty.
Okay, 2 weeks ago, everyone said Geelong was cast. They're gone, they're old, they're finished. No good. They beat Essendon, they beat Hawthorn. They're now running 5th. In a position on the ladder where you'd like to be with games to come down there at GMHBA Stadium.
Well, it just goes to show, as we say it every year, on most occasions, if you start the season well, and they were 7-0, Marty.
Yep.
They were 7-0. You're going to go through a lull. Every team's going to have their ups and downs, their mulligans, call them what you like. And they looked like they were in a world of hurt. But them and the Giants' resurgence last night, all of a sudden you start to... The tentacles go up and say, oh, hang on a minute, maybe we wrote them off a little bit too early. And that's what it's all about. And the Cattery, we always knew they got those few home games, which they're devilishly hard to beat down there. I mean, Hawthorn hadn't been there for years, and they probably don't want to go there again. But life's about timing. And, I thought for Geelong last night to get the in-form Hawthorn at home was perfect for them, particularly after a nice performance against your boys the week before.
Okay, De Conning's move into the rucks really helped. I love his work, and it may just solve that problem with Blickarbs as well in there using those two.
They're all talking about the Carlton one. Well, this kid's terrific. Yep. I mean, as I said, he went head-to-head with his brother a couple of weeks ago.
He went all right.
He was all right. He got his second best early, but I tell you what, he came out. He continued to keep on keeping on, and he just needs to keep doing the role. And you got Blickarbs as a bit of a backup. That's pretty handy because they're both steeplechasers pretty much. You'd put them in the Olympics if you want to, So he's going really, really well. And as I say, if they just got to keep blokes like Dangerfield, Cameron's back in a bit of form, in amongst the goals again. Stengel's clever around the goals. Grime Myers a bit lean last night, but yeah, they've got a bit of. They just can't afford to carry too many of the old guys.
Well, I think the loss of Hawkins has been a blessing in disguise, Brett, because he was just slow.
Yeah, they've had 10 and 11 goal scorers the last couple of weeks, and that's what you need. You need the even spread, because you go into a grand final hoping that one bloke's going to kick 5 or 6, you get horribly disappointed. That's when you start needing that spread of goal kicks, and Geelong have had it the last couple of weeks, so they'll be rapt about that.
Okay, quick, and just on Hawthorn as well, they'd lost Sicily and they lost Ginnivan, and playing down there, you had the feeling that this is one of those games that was just going to be too hard for them to win.
Yeah, you need everything to go right for you. You've got to have your best team on the arena, and you're going down to the Cattery for the first time in a long time. Absolutely, no doubt about that. And every team would struggle if they had the quality of those two players out of their side. 4
of the 5 games that Carlton have lost this season, they've had a good lead or led at quarter time. You think they're better chasers, do you?
I do. I think they need to, like we saw them against Richmond last week. That was pretty much a bit of an arm wrestle there for the first half. Richmond weren't that far behind them, but then they just clicked into gear and away they went. And sometimes there's a lot of teams. Mine's the same as I think yours is the same. It's the same. Essendon at times. There's teams that get out to a bit of a good start, and then they think, oh, we're right now. I don't have to continue to do that. I'm just going to crib forward and, wait for someone else to get the ball to me, and I'll get all the glory, you know what I mean? And that's where they got themselves in trouble, and they do get themselves in trouble like that, Carlton. And Curnow, look, he still got a goal last night, but he was well and truly beaten. Harry was on fire. But at the other end, Jesse Hogan came back into a bit of form. We started to see that orange tsunami get to work last night. And I told you the key to that. You've got to keep them inside that in the lasso. If you let them outside and get that run, they will do that to you. So that's how they can score very, very quickly. So watch this space on the Giants again.
Yeah, well, Buckley did a great job, didn't he, on Curnow, and Wiedering received he's a big man for a good cork, isn't he? He doesn't mind one.
Yeah.
And he was...
Well, he puts himself in awkward spots. But have a look at the Giants, mate. They've got Richmond next week, so that'll take them up to 40. So, geez, what a fascinating Gold Coast play Port Adelaide. The Cats play Collingwood. And Essendon play Melbourne. So, wow. It's and Fremantle play Hawthorn down in Launceston, which is not easy.
Fremantle,
so,
let's touch on them, Brad. They got the job done against Richmond. They're always going to in terrible conditions. They've won at 105-54 to me. Maybe one injury was there for them, the halfback. I'll get it up.
Yeah, they might have. Yeah, we'll get it there. But look, they were workmanlike last night, and that's all they got to do. And as I said, they didn't want to get caught drinking their own bathwater. And look, Richmond do that. They are competitive generally in the first one or two quarters. It was good to see Bolton get a few goals, but they were never going to match Fremantle. Tracy was the star last night. I know he finished with 5, but it was his early work. It was his early finishing with his 3 early, which set the victory up for him.
Did come at a cost. Darcy concussion and Draper a cork leg. So Darcy, I would imagine, is in
I thought he looked a bit dazed.
Concussion protocols now, so they'll get back to that one ruckman for the game against Hawthorn. That'll be up against Meek. Okay, but Josh Tracy in wonderful form, and he's already kicked 20 goals more than he's ever kicked in a season. So he's having a wonderful season for the Purple Army.
On the Aftermath, you're listening to Marty Young and Brad Hardie on Tab Radio Racing and Sports.
Yes, after a terrific day at Flemington yesterday, Ethan Brown with 3 winners joins us on the Aftermath. A very good morning, Ethan.
Yeah, good morning. Good to be on the show.
It was a fantastic day for you. Let's go back and relive one of those winners. Here we go.
Starting to creep into it too, so the chances all coming into it. And then came Everlasting Kiss as they run around the corner. Elliot Satellite went to the front now. Elliot at the 400 metres, tanking up as Steel Run on the outer. And they were followed by Piggyback Eagle Warrior. Hannah Fabuki's making up some ground from Everlasting Kiss. Steel Run Satellite took the front from Elliot, though, at the clock tower. Steel Run by 2 lengths. Elliot, Hannah Fabuki out late, followed by Piggyback. Steel Run, 100 metres to go. Surges on about 2 1/4, punched out, and Steel Run wins it. Steel Run from Hannah Fabuki. Fats from last has got up for 3.
Great win by Steel Run there, Marty. Brad Hardie, Ethan, congratulations. And look, it didn't have the best of luck to start before, but no mistakes there yesterday.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. He was very deserved of that win, that horse. As you alluded to, he hadn't had a lot of luck his last 2 runs. And he was brilliant first up over a mile, his first start in a race. So he is a promising stayer going forward. Feel like he's learning with every start. When I hit the front so soon up the straight there, thought, oh, geez, it's a chance of getting run down. But when I went for him, he really accelerated and ran out the 2,500 strong.
He's a 3-year-old who's only had 4 starts. As you said, he's got a big future, particularly at the Stone Caper.
Yeah, he does, and he's in the right yard for that. Mick Kent's a great trainer and a great trainer of stayers, so he'll get every chance to sort of be the best horse he can be. He's very sound, very clean-winded horse, so I think he's got a bright future.
Well, without putting too much pressure on him, Ethan, how far do you think he can go? What do you think his ceiling might be?
Oh, I'm not quite sure yet. Like, he's still very young. He's only had his 4th start. He could be stakes grade, but, I don't know. I think Mick's sort of looking at Pakenham Cups potentially. But, that's the sort of horse he is. But he can continue to go through his grades, I'd imagine.
Okay, let's repeat that question from Brad with Berkshire Breeze. Where's he going to end up, do you think?
He's pretty good. I think he'll make himself known in the spring. I just wanted to see him do it again yesterday, and he's certainly done that. And, he found that he was better yesterday. Geez, he impressed me in the field, didn't he?
Is that because his fitness would have lifted leading into that again, do you think?
Yeah, I think that was only his fourth start this prep as well, so he's just going to continue to get better. He had a nice gap between runs and another trial, which probably brought him on, and he was cherry ripe yesterday, and he can certainly go on with it.
On a lighter note, you didn't put your hand out for a riding fee, did you?
I shouldn't.
Oh, no, you did. Apparently,
easy, that was.
Apparently, you had to waste hard to get down there, did you? So, that was the hard work.
I pulled my hand out for the wasting part.
Yeah. He just settles so beautifully in the run, though, this horse, doesn't he? I haven't really ridden one like him, to be honest. Like a sail like that, he sort of jumps and puts himself into a spot, and he just sits in your hands. Like, he relaxes for you, but he travels for you. And when I pulled him out around the 600 there, it's like he knew what to do. He sort of towed me into it. He knew where he was, and I just held him together, and he extended again once I slipped him a bit of rein. I didn't have to do too much on him, but he's super impressive.
In all seriousness, Ethan, I mean, you're a real pro. There's no doubt about that. But what do you walk around at? I mean, you don't ride at 54 very often, and so you must know how special this horse is. But what's the normal walk-around day for Ethan Brown?
Well, my minimum's usually 56, so I would walk around 58 and a half through the week. But, obviously this week was a very lean week. And he had 54 after that horse, so I was allowed to plus half. So 55 was good. I prepared right for it. I felt fine. But, it's not a thing I do week in, week out.
Okay, so the latest betting in the Melbourne Cup, because... let's not make it an elephant in the room. That's where Kieran will want to go. He dropped the hint there yesterday. He said it's good to be proficient at Flemington because that's where we want to end up, and he'll track a way to get in there. But he's now into $17, third line of betting for the Melbourne Cup. So that win obviously told the bookie boys that this horse is a genuine chance.
Yeah, exactly. I was having a look at that before, and rightly so. I mean, I think I read that he ran 13 lengths above average on for a soft track, which, that's an impressive performance, and you can see why he's been wound in the Cup betting.
Now, you really had your eye in, because honest as the day is long, is Jenny's Meadow. That you gave it a great steer, and Cornell for the stable with Sneaky Sunrise coming at you late.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of riding for the Hayes boys, but I was rapt to get a winner from yesterday. It's always going to work out well, I reckon, with that horse. She'd been running well over shorter trips and really eating up the line. The chance that it had drawn wide, they were going to have to work or at some point in the race. So we were just tucked away on the rails, and it all opened up. She was terrific.
I was about to say it'd be a good stable to start riding for. Aren't their horses going well? It's a Hayes gang. My goodness,
every time you turn the team on, they're training the winner.
Yeah, that is for sure. To me, this filly, she's a 2-year-old by Brutal. I think she's set for a great 3-year-old season, isn't she? She looks tough. She's got a mile there yesterday.
Yeah, she's got a good mile in her, and I'm not really I haven't spoken to those boys yet, but I'm not sure if they go towards an Oaks with her. Maybe she gets the trip, but she's got a bright future, whichever path they decide to take.
She's not always best to begin, is she? And she takes a little bit of mustering to get going. But who did you think was your major danger? Probably was the stablemate. But Pisces, did you have the feeling that you thought it might have been a little bit suspect at the mile?
I wasn't worried about Pisces, to be honest. Better than it was Sneaky Sunrise. I thought Pisces would be found out at the mile, which that proved right. But, it was more so the stablemate. But I think the key was we were tucked away and had a soft run. And, I think her at that trip was the telling factor as well. she really ate up the mile, and as I said before, like, you could see that she wanted to do that. And they did chuck the one-eye blinker on her. She actually went straight yesterday. She didn't want to duck in, and that helped her gain momentum through the line.
What about Ferrari in the last?
Ferrari, I think she may want it a bit softer, but it's always horses when they first start up the straight. They either handle it or they don't. And I think she was a bit lost at sea, so to speak, when she hit the course proper. Watched her change leads. She wobbled around and just didn't quite know what to do. I think it's a forgive, especially off her last two efforts. Like, you got to forgive her one start up the straight, but hopefully she comes through it okay and she can get back to her winning ways next start.
So do you think it's more straight or more ground with her?
I thought more straight.
Okay.
But I also do think softer ground will help her. But I honestly think just the way she wobbled, she may have been looking for a corner. And
so
as I said, she just felt a bit lost.
So for the uninitiated, Ethan, who are not familiar with it, so what's the best to do for a horse like that? Try and get a backside to follow and hold them in as long as you possibly can before they see daylight, and get them to settle, or is it easier said than done?
It's easier said than done, but I think she settled fine. Like, she dropped her head. Usually, earlier in her prep, she was really running through the bridle, and she just learned to settle now. And you've seen that at Ballarat. She sat off one, no problem. She done that again yesterday, but she just, as I said, when we hit the course proper, she wobbled around and just didn't really know how to let go up the straight.
You're on the Aftermath. We're talking to Ethan Brown after a travel at Flemington yesterday. You've been in wonderful form through this winter, and it's always well documented that the top guys are away. You guys get a chance to show your wares, and you can ride as good as any of them. It's just about opportunity. But how do you take this form into the spring and maintain your position there at the important time of the year?
Yeah, it's not easy, but I just keep doing what I'm doing, keep my head down and working hard. But yeah, I think it's good to. It's a bit easy when the bigger boys are away, as you said. But yeah, like, I decided to. I could have went on a holiday, but I decided to ride through the winter just to sort of smack myself a little bit after, it's hadn't been an easy 12 months, but things are going okay. And, just, as I said, keep trying to give me horses every chance.
How does it work, Ethan? I mean, like in AFL footy, we say, we're just taking it 1 week at a time. I mean, how far ahead do you look, and then your manager? How far ahead do you look, what do you concentrate? Do you concentrate on the next race meeting or a few days' time? How does it work in your head?
I'll let my manager deal with that, but in my head, I focus on the next race meeting. So, like, for instance, now I'm not riding till Wednesday, so when that comes around, I'll focus on that solely.
Fitness outside of race riding, do you do the gym, do you do running? What do you do to keep that weight down?
Yeah, I do a bit of gym, walking, a bit of run. I don't run too much. A few of the boys have actually gone up to the Gold Coast for a marathon. That's not really my caper. But,
yeah, it's not Brad's eyes either, don't worry about that.
I think diet's the main thing there, like just eating right. And,
yep.
Light exercise, track. Like track work. You're riding track works at least 3 times a week in trials, and then you got races in between. So you keep them pretty fit doing that on its own. But I'll get to the gym once or twice a week and plenty of saunas.
Who do you normally ride out for at track work?
I do a lot for Kieran.
Yeah.
Mick Ken, I do a bit for. But yeah, like, you just spread yourself around. Mick Price, I'll go in and gallop a few for him. But Monday mornings are very busy, so you got trials at Creamer, obviously.
Yep.
And it's pretty much a free-for-all there.
All right, well, it was a pleasure watching you ride yesterday at Flemington. You're in wonderful form, as we said, through this winter period. You've been riding the lights out, continued success. And thanks for coming on the Aftermath this morning, Ethan, and all the best with that grey horse going forward.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Ethan Brown joins us on the Aftermath. Ripping lad and riding particularly well.
Should have asked if he was a golfer. A lot of them play golf. A lot of them love the golf, don't they?
Yes, they do.
So if he's not riding until Wednesday, he's not really a gym junkie. He's not a marathon runner, which is you and I wouldn't drive 40 k's in the car. So I wonder if we should have asked him whether he's a bit of a social golfer, because a few of them love that.
Got to say, young Seb Clark, who you won't hear him on the airways here in Perth for a couple of months. He's off on a European vacay, but he'd run a half marathon yesterday before he came into work.
Well, that's stupid.
You ran my half for me as well. All right, we'd better take a little break, and we're coming back with Morgan Turner. We're talking greyhound racing next.
Flying Out Racing Barbie with Emerald Guard. They're clear of West on Tilly. There goes Curo with a big surge. Well back Rapido Rhapsody. Sunset Tyson has work to do. Sunset Pacquiao and shuffled out to last West on Tilly. It's Racing Barbie at 20-1. A length Emerald Guard. Curo joins in and then Rapido Rhapsody. Emerald Guard railed through. Curo gives chase, but Emerald Guard by 3 lengths Curo. Third Racing Barbie. Fourth Rapido Rhapsody from Sunset Tyson, Sunset Pacquiao, and then West.
Yes, Morgan Turner, the trainer of Emerald Guard, joins us, and a good win from the one box there on Friday night, Morgan.
Yeah, it was good. Good to be able to get.
We've got Brad Hardie over in Melbourne as well, Brad.
Congratulations, Morgan. Well done, outstanding. Normally a ping the litter sort of dog, is it?
What was that, sorry?
I said, is it normally a ping the lid sort of dog for you?
No, not really. He's a very strong dog. Once it jumped second, I was pretty confident.
So, what are the plans for the greyhound going forward now?
Well, that was the heat last night for the winter chase. So he's in the final on next Saturday.
Yep.
But he's drawn box 6.
Ooh,
so
different.
Not ideal, but yeah, we'll see how he goes. Hopefully, runs a good race and top 3.
What's his form like out wide when he draws these wider boxes?
I think it's not too bad, but he normally wants to try and get down to the rail, and obviously this will be his hardest race he's been in so far.
Is he progressive enough to go up in grade and still perform well?
Yeah. No, he won a City 5 the previous week, I think. So, yeah, he's City class dog, I'd say.
8 from 20, not a bad... Oh, no, it'd be 9 from 21 now, wouldn't it? Yeah, after that win last night. So, certainly a winner.
Yeah, no, he goes good.
By Tommy Shelby?
Yeah. We had another litter before from a different sire, and I think Tommy Shelby's definitely improved them.
So, do you own the Damn Cranmer Nelly?
No. Mike Quincy owns there.
Okay. And is there any other foals out of that litter that are racing at the moment?
Yeah, so the other one that won last night, Hector Hunter, he's from the same litter. Okay. And Toad's also from the same litter. All 3 of them raced last night.
Right.
Yeah, all pretty handy.
What's it cost to get a bitch served by Tommy Manelli these days?
Tommy Shelby?
Tommy Shelby, sorry. Yeah.
I'm not sure, to be honest. So these dogs are 2.5 years old. So
yeah, they got in at the right time.
Yeah. You have to,
how many you got in work? How many you got in the kennel, Morgan?
20.
20?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That was downsized since last year.
Okay, so Toad, who ran third, in race number 7. Do we keep following it?
Yeah, he's a hard one. He's the fastest out of the litter. But yeah, he's just got to win a city novice, and then hopefully he can win a few country races, and that'll bring his confidence up. But I'm hoping.
Good luck with it, mate. Well done. Congratulations. A fantastic training performance.
Yeah, just before you go, the other one that ran, Hectare Hunter, won race number 3 from the 2 box. What's the future look like for him?
Yeah, it looks really good. He's taken a while to get to the track. A few injury problems along the way, and last night's performance was outstanding. He's another one that hasn't really jumped very well previously, but once he jumped, same thing. Once he jumped second as well, I was pretty confident. They're all pretty strong, those dogs. Okay, so he's only had 3 starts for 2 wins now, Hector Hunter, and just by what you said, he could be one we need to keep following. Yeah, yep. I've got good hopes for him as well. But, for the training performance, I worked away, so I've only been home 3 days, so it's probably my wife that's been training him. Well, that's very important. We give, what's your wife's name? Karis. Give Karis a good rap.
Right on, Karis.
Where are you working away? What are you doing, Morgan?
I work 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, construction, offshore.
Yeah, offshore. Okay, so this is a nice little side hustle for you then? Yeah, that's it. It paying its way at the moment. Yeah, I was about to say, interestingly, does it make you money on the side? Yeah, yep. If you got good dogs, definitely does. Yeah, okay, so the West Chase final, it'll be next Saturday. You've drawn the 6. Who's the dogs to beat after the box draw? I haven't really had a real good look at it. I think I was watching the heats last night and seemed a lot of the stronger dogs were winning them. So hopefully there's not too much early speed and we can jump in a good spot. And, I was just hoping to draw 1, 2 or 3, but, it makes it a bit harder. Well, he looked like he had a bit of track sense when he was able to sort of position and just switch off heels and come with his run there last night. So hopefully the greyhound can find a spot somewhere and finish the race off for you. Yeah, that's all we can hope for. All right, Morgan. Put him in and that's all you can do. Thank you for coming on the Aftermath and all the best with those greyhounds. We're going to follow them going forward. Too easy, mate. Cheers, mate. There is Morgan Turner. Had a good night last night, a double and a third. All falls, Brad, and ones we can keep following on the way forward. Now, we've got another one from the text line. What is going to be the secret? What is going to be the secret for Sydney to snap back into form against St Kilda today?
I just think they need to get back on the horse. I mean, Marty, they've lost 6 of their first quarters in their last 8 games. They're coming out like Chautauqua at the moment. So they've got to try and make sure that is on today quite clear. I've still got a couple of reservations. I think Rampy and Lloyd down back are a little bit susceptible to anybody with speed, aerial ability, or a few tricks in their bag. So that's something. But they've still got Callum Mills, Luke Parker to come back in maybe. And look, they've got to get that those boys up the front have got to get their connection back with the midfielders because they had a lean picking against Fremantle last week and still only lost by a point. But they've got to get that chemistry back today, and I think they will.
Brisbane against Adelaide. Not a lot has been spoken about this game that I've heard, but I suspect Adelaide are going to give Brisbane a run for their money here.
I think the overs today, Marty. Good day up in Brisbane. I think it'll be the ball will be pinging around. Brisbane can score very quickly, but you can score against them. So that's where I think you're right with Tex Walker, Fogarty, Rankin, etc. They've got enough firepower to be able to put a score on the board. I'm just hoping if you're a Brisbane Lions supporter that they had their moment last week where they thought, we'll just show up and we'll be okay. Got themselves somehow out of jail against Melbourne to win the game. Hopefully that might have been the wake-up call they needed because it just goes to show if you don't bring your right attitude, you can get taken down.
Brad, we're racing up on the Goldfields today. It's a special day, the Cancer Council Race Day. And Victoria Corver's been in wonderful form. She joins us on the program right now. Brad, I know you like following these informed jockeys. That's why we've got Victoria on the show. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are we?
Going well. You're going to the Goldfields. I hope you got some warm clothes.
I think I probably underestimated just how cold it is. It's always 10 degrees colder there than it is here, and I'm currently freezing, so it's not looking good.
How many riding today, Victoria?
4 today at Cal.
Okay, let's start with your first. Town Hall. Now, this was a bit of a street corner tip last start. Just got beaten by High Pressure. Can you go one better for Johnny Mason?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for some value, I'd say he's a good each-way bet. It's obviously a strong 70+, but his form in that grade of race is pretty good. He's won over the distance, and I think John's worked for a few little niggles with him, and he's just got back to his best. His last run, he was unlucky not to win, and I think he'll improve today. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes close.
I'm going to stick with you on Debonair in race number 4.
Aye.
You're on 5, Victoria. 3 on the bounce. We'd love that.
Yeah, that's the plan. I think there's obviously a lot of factors working in his favour. He drops 2 kilos. He's got an inside barrier. There's obviously a couple of horses in the race that are with their own claims, but I'd say he'll be hard to beat again. Even dropping back to the 12, I don't think will bother him.
Brad, is it too late to include this horse in your Sunday multi?
No.
Can we just make it a 4-legger?
I don't want to put any pressure on Victoria.
Oh, she eats it up. She eats it up for breakfast. This horse, this is a serious horse. It goes all right, doesn't it?
Yes.
Victoria.
Yes. I think he's quite progressive. He's still very immature in his mind, and he's winning just on ability. It's obvious to me in the prelim and things like that. He's more focused on his dinner and where he's going home, and rather than the actual race. And he's obviously winning very impressively. I wouldn't be surprised if he works his way through the grades quite quickly and ends up in some feature races, if not later this season, next season.
Okay, there you go. Good push. Now, Fiona Scott also trains, is it Musa, in race number 5. Awkward draw out there in barrier 10.
I think it's Musa.
Okay.
Only because I think Adam used to have it and he used to call it Musa.
Yep.
But I'm not sure. Good run last start. I think the 12 was a stretch. Had she been in 11 last start, I think she almost would have won. Obviously, we'll need some luck from barrier 10, but with even luck, I'd say she could be in the top 3 again.
Now, Victoria can't tip, but in my quaddie, can I put Send 'em in? Send 'em? Because it's always around the mark, very consistent, but just as a good finish, just can't find the line.
I think he's only won 1 from 28, but he has had a few unlucky runs. I rode him 2 starts ago, and I was a bit held up, and he's a big type of horse. Obviously, Mr. Peter Fernie knows how to train a horse for the finals, so I wouldn't be surprised if with a good run, get a bit of room, I'd say he'll be hitting the line well.
Okay, so beautiful. The best of your rides, is it Debonair?
Yeah, I think it's hard to go past him, even with the drop in distance, but everything else seems to be looking good for him, and Fiona's got him going very well.
Yep.
So hard to go past him, I'd say.
Hey, Victoria, you are in good form. Keep it up there on the goldfields. Keep nice and warm. As soon as you ride a winner, you'll warm right up. There's no doubt about that. And thanks for coming on the Aftermath today. You've been great.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Victoria Corver there rounds out our 2 hours with about 50 seconds to go. Oh, they are, yeah. Wonderful form. Now, Brad.
Sophie in form?
Yeah, Soph's good. Yeah, she's going well behind the scenes. Our 3 winners today, Melbourne beat West Coast.
Yeah.
Cover the line?
Yeah, look, it's really up to Melbourne, what they want to do. I suspect they're going to come out fairly brutal today. It's just going to be what sort of resistance for West Coast can stump up.
Sydney beat St Kilda, over or under?
No overs. I think Sydney would just say, listen, we're not going to fall for this arm wrestle stuff. We will just, whatever you score, we're going to score more and a lot more.
And Brisbane win, and it's an over.
Yeah, overs for sure. I think Brisbane you don't have to worry about the margin, but go Brisbane to win and the total line over, and I think you'll get the money.
Thanks, Bradley.
See you, Money.